June has a reputation problem. Every gardening calendar makes it sound like the season for admiring what you planted in April, not for starting something new. But I want to challenge that idea completely. June's warm soil is actually one of the most powerful germination engines nature gives us. Seeds that would sit dormant for 2 weeks in cold April soil will crack open and push roots downward in a matter of days right now. The long light hours fuel leaf growth at a pace that feels almost reckless. If you know which flowers to choose, June is not a compromise, it is an invitation. Whether you have a bare patch left by a frost casualty, container that never got filled, or you're simply getting started with summer gardening for the first time, this guide is for you. We're going to walk through 12 fast-growing flowers that thrive when planted this month. Some will bloom in as little as 6 to 8 weeks. Others will fill your borders with foliage while quietly building toward an August and September display that takes your breath away. The goal is a garden in motion, color that doesn't peak and fade, but keeps offering something new until the first frost shuts everything down. Before we meet the flowers, let's lay the groundwork. The summer success foundation. There are a few universal truths about planting in warm weather, and I'd rather say them once clearly than repeat them 12 times. Warm season annuals need drainage above almost everything else. Waterlogged roots in summer heat become a breeding ground for fungal disease with alarming speed. If your native soil is heavy clay, mixing in coarse horticultural grit or a generous amount of aged compost before sowing will make a meaningful difference. Germination in June soil, typically between 65 degrees F and 80 degrees F at the surface, is rapid for most of these flowers. Resist the urge to overwater newly sown seed. Keep the surface consistently moist, not saturated. Once seedlings establish their first set of true leaves, back off and let the top inch of soil dry slightly between waterings. That mild stress encourages roots to grow deep, where they'll find moisture during heat waves without your help. 2 techniques will determine whether your garden blooms for 6 weeks or 6 months. Succession planting and deadheading. Succession planting means sowing a second round of seeds 2 to 3 weeks after the first. By the time your initial planting is winding down, the next wave is reaching peak bloom. It is the simplest way to keep a garden looking deliberate and full right through September. Deadheading, the practice of removing spent flower heads before they set seed, redirects the plant's energy from reproduction back into producing more buds. For most of the flowers we're about to discuss, quick pinch every few days is all it takes. The plant's entire biological ambition is to produce seed. When you interrupt that process, it keeps trying. That persistence is your ally. Now the flowers. Flower number 1, Zinnia elegans. If there's one flower I'd recommend to anyone who feels nervous about June planting, it is the zinnia. Seeds germinate in 5 to 7 days in warm soil, and from germination to first bloom takes roughly 60 days, which means flowers by mid-August from a seed sown this week. More importantly, the more you cut zinnias, the more blooms they produce. They are the perfect plant for the gardener who loves fresh arrangements. For June, I lean toward the Benary's Giant series in deep coral and warm orange, or Uproar Rose for more rose-pink palette. Avoid overhead watering. Zinnias are prone to powdery mildew when their leaves stay wet, and give them full sun without compromise. Direct sow where they'll grow. Zinnias resent transplanting because their taproots are sensitive. Thin seedlings to 12 inches apart to allow air circulation. Then harvest ruthlessly. Your plants will thank you for it. Flower number 2, Cosmos by Pinettis. Cosmos is the master of patient drama. For the first few weeks, it produces tall, feathery, fern-like foliage that makes you wonder whether anything will ever actually bloom. And then, seemingly overnight, the daisy-like flowers arrive in waves: white, magenta, candy pink, and rich burgundy, and the whole plant becomes a movement in the breeze. What makes Cosmos ideal for June is its love of poor soil. In rich, heavily amended ground, Cosmos puts all its energy into leaves. In lanes, Well-drained soil with full sun. It channels that energy into flowers. Sow directly and barely cover the seed. It needs light to germinate. The Sensation series reaches 4 feet with large blooms. For a more compact option, Sonata stays around 24 inches and is excellent for cutting. Cosmo self-sows with enthusiasm. So if you let a few seed heads ripen in September, you may find a volunteer population appearing next June without any effort at all. Flower number 3, Sunflower Helianthus annus. Sunflowers are phototropic, meaning they chase the light, turning their faces throughout the day to follow the sun's arc across the sky. Young sunflowers do this actively. Mature ones typically settle facing east to greet the morning. It's one of the more quietly remarkable things happening in your garden if you take time to notice it. For June planting, choose fast-maturing varieties. Sunrich Orange reaches bloom in about 60 days and produces multiple stems, making it exceptional as a cut flower. Autumn Beauty offers a mix of burgundy, russet, and gold on branching plants that keep producing through October. If you want seeds for wildlife or roasting, Mammoth Russian is your variety, but be prepared to wait slightly longer and give it plenty of room. Sow sunflowers an inch deep directly where they'll grow. They establish quickly and need very little attention beyond consistent moisture in the first 2 weeks. Once their roots are down, they're remarkably self-sufficient. Flower number 4, Mexican sunflower Tithonia rotundifolia. Tithonia is what happens when a sunflower decides to go tropical. The blooms are vivid, almost electric orange, a color so warm and saturated that it reads like it has its own light source on cloudy days. Planted alongside blue or purple salvias, Tithonia creates one of the most arresting late summer combinations in a border. Seeds germinate rapidly in warm conditions and the plant grows fast, often 3 to 6 feet by August. It is outstanding as a cut flower, though I recommend searing the cut stem ends in boiling water for a few seconds to prevent the hollow stems from wilting. Torch is the widely available cultivar, reliable and vigorous. For a slightly more compact option, Fiesta del Sol stays around 30 inches and is well suited to containers. Flower number 5, Spider Flower Cleome Hasseliana. Cleome is one of those plants that surprises people who have never grown it. The blossoms have long, thread-like stamens that extend well beyond the petals, giving the flower a spidery, open architecture that reads as simultaneously delicate and bold. Plants reach 4 to 6 feet, making them ideal for the back of a border or anywhere you need vertical interest without the rigidity of a fence or trellis. The Queen series is the one I return to year after year. Violet Queen in particular has a cool lavender purple that blends beautifully with warm orange Tithonia and pale yellow calendula. Sow seeds directly in June. They germinate quickly in warm soil and you'll see blooms by August. One caveat: Cleome has small spines along the stem, so gloves are worth wearing at harvest. It also self-sows freely, so if you want to control its spread, deadhead before seeds mature. Flower number 6, African Marigold Tagetes erecta. Among the fastest germinating flowers you can grow, African marigold seeds crack open in as few as 5 days in warm soil. This is the flower for impatient gardeners and bare patches that need filling now. The Kilimanjaro white variety has large, powder puff blooms in a creamy white that pairs with virtually any other color in the garden. For warmth, traditional summer tones, Crackerjack produces massive orange and gold blooms on 2 to 3 foot plants. African marigolds have the added advantage of being powerful companion plants. The roots release compounds that discourage nematodes in the soil, and the strong scent helps deter aphids and whiteflies from neighboring vegetables and flowers. If you're growing tomatoes or peppers nearby, consider planting a ring of African marigolds around them for functional beauty. For continuous blooms, succession sow every 2 to 3 weeks and deadhead consistently. These marigolds will carry color right up to a hard frost. Flower number 7, Calendula officinalis. Some flowers are purely decorative. Calendula is useful in every direction. The blooms golden orange, warm apricots, creamy whites, and rich amber are edible. And petals scattered over salads add both color and a mild, slightly peppery flavor. They've been used in herbal skincare preparations for centuries, and their anti-inflammatory properties are well documented in botanical literature. In the gardens, calendula matures in around 50 days and will continue flowering until hard frost if you keep up with deadheading. It's a generous companion plant for vegetables, attracting hoverflies whose larvae are voracious aphid predators. The Pacific Beauty series offers large double blooms and good heat tolerance. Sow directly in full sun. In extremely hot climates, a spot with afternoon shade can extend the blooming period through the hottest weeks. Flower number 8, Nasturtium tropiolum majus. Nasturtiums occupy a unique ecological role in the garden. They are what's called a trap crop. Aphids adore them, and rather than fighting this, experienced gardeners plant nasturtiums deliberately near vegetables they want to protect. The aphids congregate on the nasturtiums instead, where they're easy to spot and remove, or where beneficial insects find and consume them. Beyond that pest management function, nasturtiums are simply joyful plants. The round, lily pad-like leaves are unusual and attractive in their own right, and the flowers bright orange, gold, soft yellow, and deep red are entirely edible, with a peppery, watercress-like flavor. Climbing types like Spitfire will scale a trellis or cascade from a container. Bush types like Alaska stay compact and have lovely cream variegated foliage. Sow seeds an inch deep directly in the garden after all frost risk has passed. They grow quickly and need minimal care, in fact. They prefer lane soil and can become leggy and overvegetative in rich ground. Flower number 9, Bachelor's Button Centaurea cyanus. Bachelor's buttons carry a long history in European cottage gardens. They were once woven into garlands and worn as buttonhole flowers at weddings and markets, which is the origin of their common name. The classic blue-purple color is genuinely difficult to find in the annual garden, which makes Centaurea unusually valuable for color mixing. Sow directly in full sun in well-drained soil. Plants mature quickly and produce a flush of blooms that benefits enormously from deadheading. Remove spent flowers consistently, and they'll keep producing rather than going to seed. For a June planting, you can expect flowers by late July to early August. The Blue Boy variety remains the most reliably saturated in color. Polka dot mix adds white, pink, and burgundy alongside the classic blue for a more varied display. Flower number 10, Tickseed coreopsis. Coreopsis is one of those dependable workhorse flowers that garden designers return to because it delivers without drama. The classic species produces cheerful yellow daisy-like blooms, but newer cultivars have expanded the palette considerably. Red Shift moves through warm apricot and brick red. Cosmic Eye offers a burgundy center with golden petals that creates a sunburst effect at close range. Many Coreopsis cultivars are perennial, but even the annual types establish quickly from June-sown seed. Full sun and well-drained soil are the primary requirements. Coreopsis is notably drought-tolerant once established, which makes it an excellent choice for exposed beds or gardens in regions with dry summer periods. It attracts a wide range of pollinators, particularly native bees, and makes a long-lasting cut flower. Flower number 11, Portulaca grandiflora. This is the flower for the spot where everything else has failed. The hot, dry, baking strip along a south-facing wall. The gravel-mulched border that receives no irrigation. The containers that dry out faster than you can water them. Portulaca, also called moss rose, is a succulent annual native to the arid plains of Argentina and Uruguay, and it has spent millennia adapting to exactly those conditions. The blooms resemble miniature roses in vivid shades of pink, magenta, orange, yellow, and white, and they appear approximately 45 days from seed. The Mojave series from proven winners is particularly floriferous, with an almost iridescent quality to the colors. Especially in the fuchsia and tangerine selections, and the sundial series opens its flowers even on overcast days, which is not universally true of all portulaca types. One practical advantage: portulaca is largely self-cleaning, meaning spent blooms drop without assistance. In midsummer, if plants become leggy, shear them back by half and apply diluted balanced fertilizer. Within 2 weeks, they'll produce fresh growth and renewed flowering. This is a plant that rewards minimal attention. Flower number 12, annual vinca catharanthus roseus. Annual vinca, sometimes called Madagascar periwinkle, is technically not a vinca at all. But the name has stuck. What matters is its performance. This is arguably the most heat-tolerant flowering annual available to home gardeners, and it blooms with almost mechanical consistency from June through the first hard frost. The pinwheel-shaped flowers come in rich burgundy, soft lavender, deep pink, pure white, and warm apricots. The Cora series has become the standard recommendation from many extension services because of its proven resistance to Phytophthora root rot, the fungal disease that historically troubled this plant in humid climates. Titan produces unusually large flowers. Soiree Kawaii offers a lower, spreading habit ideal for container edges and ground-level borders. Plant established transplants rather than sowing from seed in June. Annual vinca takes a long time to develop from seed and benefits from a head start. Once in the ground in a warm, sunny position, it grows steadily and requires little beyond occasional watering until established. It does not need deadheading. It does not need staking. It simply blooms, week after week, without complaints, through the hottest and most demanding stretch of the garden year. Keeping the color going, the difference between a garden that peaks in August and one that carries through September into October comes down to 2 habits. Deadhead consistently every few days on zinnias, marigolds, calendula, and bachelor's buttons. Succession sow put in a second round of zinnias, cosmos, and sunflowers 2 to 3 weeks from now, so a fresh wave is approaching bloom just as the first is winding down. These 12 flowers represent a full toolkit: tall and low, bold and delicate, cut flower worthy, and garden workhorse reliable. Pick the combinations that fit your space and your taste, and get them in the ground this week. The soil is warm, the days are long, and the season is entirely yours to make the most of. If you're working with a specific gap in your garden, a troublesome dry corner, a shady edge, or a space that needs height fast, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear what you're filling this month.